Hi everyone, I'm Beth Green, otherwise known as Granny Rocks, and welcome to Grow. Tonight I'm going to be talking about the topic of should we really listen to our elders? And my answer is that depends on how we listen. So I'm going to get into this juicy topic a little bit down the road here, but first I'm going to introduce you to sweet baby James, who is going to introduce you to our show.
Yes, hello everybody. Welcome once again to Granny Rocks Our World, where she shares her uncommon sense, her wisdom, and her wit. Every Monday and Wednesday at this time, 6:30 Pacific p.m., that is p.m. And I love this topic because now that I'm an elder, of course you should listen to me, right?
Yes, I have the same thought. So Elizabeth said hello, and so hello, Elizabeth. Please feel free to use the chat and comment and talk to us. So I'm so happy that you're here. So first of all, I want to tell you, Luann is sending us eyeballs and a globe and a rainbow and all of that, and I love that because I want to. And Sherry Lee says howdy, howdy to you, Sherry.
Howdy.
So first, I want to tell you that some miraculous things have happened in the very last few weeks. Hello, Bob and Carol. Bob said, hi, Beth and James. Carol is watching too. So glad. So what's happened is we now have an international audience. And I mean, it's staggering because we have people from all over the world listening, not necessarily to the live show, but watching it later. And I want to tell you that gives me pause because I'm thinking, wow, I'm not just addressing an American audience anymore. And it's very humbling. Mm-hmm. That's all I can say is that it's very humbling. So
the human family.
The human family. And yes. We are, and so I asked myself, well, what can I say? Well, I believe that we are all human and are all basically the same. I know there are people who don't believe that, but I don't care. You don't have to believe it. I do. So I'm hoping that what I say will be relevant to all of us. And Amy said that is fantastic. It is fantastic. Okay, so what motivated me to bring up the topic, should we really listen to our elders? And that depends on how we listen. Because a really fun guy wrote to me today. Yeah, it was a guy, James, an American actually in this case. And he was teasing. He liked my show and he said, listen to your elders, which I assume he meant me. I mean, I am only 25, but you know what I mean. So anyway, I know I'm old. So anyway, it started me thinking about this question. And Amy says, I love the topic that you've chosen. My mom used to tell me that I heard things she said in a very different way, usually a negative one than she had intended. Well, that is a very different point of the point that I'm going to get to today, Amy, but it's a good one. Some of us, let's say, some of us have been brought up to respect our elders. That's not that much in this country, but now we have an international audience, right? And on the other hand, some people think that elders know nothing. That was me. And which is it?
I did listen to my elders, or else.
Right, and that was probably a big mistake. Okay, so first of all, I want to say, whether you're an elder or a minor or whatever you are, or an in-betweener, we can only teach what we know. What we know, though, is a combination of what we think, what we believe, and what we've experienced. So our elders, like our parents, our grandparents, they had a certain experience in a certain context in the world. Like my grandparents came from Eastern Europe, and my parents were born here. They were first generation Americans. And they had their own experience that they were bringing in. And so naturally, that's the lens through which they were going to see everything. And what they say and what they said might not apply to our situation and our times. Now, they may think it does, and we may be wrong, but it may not, in fact. They may be distorted by the narrowness of their experience. our parents may have grown up in a much narrower world. Here we have the internet. We get to see a lot that's going on. Not that we get that wise, but we have an opportunity to see a lot more. And our elders may be prejudiced because of their experience, but they may have been brought up to be prejudiced. And so they're going to be giving us advice, and that's based on prejudice, on opinions, on old news, and they may be motivated by fear. They may be afraid that we're going to get hurt. They may be afraid they're going to get hurt, and that all of those things can distort what the elder says. We want to think that our elders are wise, at least those of us who listen to elders. We want to think they're wise, but sometimes they're not wise. Sometimes they're just people. And what's worse is that often our elders are trying to recreate the world as they knew the world, especially when they were growing up, because that's what makes them feel comfortable. So when you ask them about, well, what should I do? Or you don't ask them, they come in and they tell you what they think you should do. A lot of times, what's actually happening is they are wanting you to create the world that they want to live in, or that they think they did live in, and it may not be based on anything real. And Debbie said, hi to you both. I work in nursing. I love the stories elderly patients tell me. It's like a living history book. And you're getting exactly to my point, Debbie, because I'm saying that we should listen to our elders to learn about their experiences, but not necessarily to follow their advice. Amy said, my grandmother, who was from Eastern Europe and had very little education, would ask me, why would girls go to school? Yeah, exactly, right? So I come back to the question of, what does listening mean? How do we listen? Are we listening to hear, just like, we're just hearing? I hear the birds. I don't have an opinion about the birds. I hear the birds. I hear the river. I'm just observing what I'm hearing, versus I'm listening, like, mommy said that I should do this and I should listen to her. See? So how are we listening? So I think it would be just terrific if we would ask our elders, like you are talking about, Debbie, ask our elders to share their stories, but then be aware of that their stories are, first of all, distorted by their age. You know what I mean? My mother told me the same story for 50 years, and every 5 or 10 years the story changed. By the way, Erica said yes. It took a long time to read between the lines of their experience. That's a very good point, of what they were really, what they had learned and what they're trying to tell us. So if we listen to them to follow, we may be completely off the mark as to what is needed in the world today. Or they may be bringing us back to values that we really care about. So we have to be listening with awareness. Sometimes our elders are actually only sharing their prejudices and their opinions, and they're not even sharing their experience. They think it's their experience, but it's something that they learned. I mean, you're seeing that. I see this in our country today. People who are yabbering and jabbering on about immigrants may not know any, right? But they are repeating what they have been told that is getting them all revved up, and yet it's not even based on their own experience. Or it may be based on their experience of hearing something or reading something, not on the experience that they actually had. And a lot of prejudices are like that. When we're growing up, we hear the prejudices of our parents and we take them in as true. A lot of people do that when they're children because they're so impressionable. So they may not realize that they are sharing their prejudices. They may think they are sharing their experiences. They may think that they're trying to protect us, but they may not be doing that. It's kind of like when you think about, the example from a century ago of the Chinese women agreeing to bind the feet of their daughters, they were not basing that on the experience of what their feet felt like. They didn't base that on the experience of whether or not that was healthy. That was what they were taught. Those were the prejudices they had. Maybe they thought that the girl would never get a good guy if she had big feet, right? But we have to look carefully at those things. Now, before going further on this, I want to say that Amy says, I love the idea of listening to learn about someone else rather than focus on my opinions about what they're sharing. Yes, you listen to learn about what they're sharing, but don't necessarily follow what their advice is. Now, I want to talk a little bit about the other side before I really get into the essence of this thing. Sometimes we ignore our elders because they do know, and because what they know is in conflict with what we want. Right?
And what we want to be true.
And what we want to be true. A potential boyfriend or a potential girlfriend might show signs of emotional instability. And our elders see that. But they're sexy. So, obviously that's more important than the long-term stability of your family, right? We may be blinded by ambition or delusional thinking, and our elders will see that, but we don't want to know that because that's going to get in the way of our delusions or our ambition. Or we just may be in rebellion and we negate everything they say. So everybody has a piece of the puzzle. The young, the old, the people in between. Each one of us has an experience, a perception. Nobody can see the whole picture, guys, because we're not that smart. But when we're smart, we get together with others and we bring together what everybody is saying and we try to see the bigger picture. It's not just the fragment. I love that old story about the elephant, and somebody's holding the tail and somebody's holding the foot and somebody's holding the nose, and so who has the truth about what the elephant is? It's you've got to put it all together. Well, this is the same thing. We need to listen to our elders. We need to hear them. We need to listen to our young people. We need to hear them. We need to listen to everybody in between. We need to hear them. And then we have to start using our awareness and our intuition and our experience.
And filter out the opinions and filter out the prejudices.
That's right.
And the stuff that doesn't apply to
That's right.
our present.
So we would be wise to listen to everyone, but not blindly, not to listen to anyone blindly. Just because your father was a Marine doesn't mean that you need to be a Marine. Maybe you're totally not suited to be a Marine. Or a doctor, or your mother wants you to, I don't know, become a financial advisor, and you can't add. So this is what I think we should do. We should listen to everyone in terms of hearing. We should be interested in what they say. We should evaluating what is motivating their thoughts. My mother used to say to me that when she was a little girl, she met a lot of anti-Semitism because she was Jewish, and I was raised as a Jewish person too. And one friend she had at school turned on her when she was in elementary school. And as a result of that, she believed that we should never trust anybody who's not Jewish. As you put it in Yiddish, don't trust the goyim, right? Well, this is one story you've had, or one experience that you've had, or maybe 10 experiences that you had. But those were not my experiences. Well, yes, I'm not saying that I never met anti-Semitism, but not like she did. So am I going to take that? And she really wanted me to take that and believe that and not date a non-Jewish guy, right?
Such as I.
Such as you. Or, trust non-Jewish people, as many of my friends are. I don't care what your label is. I care where your heart is, where your mind is. But see, I understand what was motivating her, but I can't listen to that because that's poison. We should take what they say as being based on their experience or on their opinions. Notice what their experience is based on. Ask them, well, why do you say that, Mom? Why do you say that, Dad? Why do you think that Mexicans are all thieves and rapists? is it that Donald Trump told you? Or have you known every Mexican and you happen to know that as a fact? You've done a poll, a survey. You see what I'm saying? Ask them, where did your opinion come from? Or where did your idea come from? Is it coming from other people's opinions? Or is it other people's experience? Is it just conventional thinking? Well, that's the way the world is, and therefore you have to do it that way. Is it based on their intuition, their observation, and their common sense? I want to know that. And how much intuition, observation, and common sense do they exercise? And then see whether their guidance to us is rooted in kindness, understanding, willingness to grow and forgive. And if it isn't rooted in kindness, understanding, willingness to grow and forgive, I would definitely look twice at what they're telling us. There's too much anger and hatred and prejudice in the world, and it gets passed down. Todd says, this is such a great topic, Beth. It is so easy to attach ourselves to the opinions of elders or others instead of thinking for ourselves and drawing conclusions from the largest data set possible. Right on. We often don't have a large enough scope to get a balanced view. Exactly. And, elders could be anything. It could be authority figures. It could be politicians. It could be your teacher. It could be anybody. It could be an older kid at school. It could be your older brother or sister. If the person's guidance to you is rooted in ego, meaning it's all about protecting me or protecting mine or only caring about me, I would question that as well. I want to know that when I ask somebody to look at something, are they looking at it from the perspective of the highest good of all, or are they only looking for, number one, whether it's your nation, your race, your religion, your gender, or anyone else? Hello, Jay. So good to see you. So here's my suggestion when your elders try to tell you something. And Jay, I hope that you will be able to listen to the whole show, because I'm almost done. And you're such a great supporter. Jay is from India. Acknowledge, I believe, right? I could be wrong, but I think so. Acknowledge what the person says. Acknowledge if it's based on their experience and say, I can understand how you feel that way because it's based on your experience. All men are rats, right? Oh, right. Well, what terrible experiences did you have? What experiences are you ignoring? What about all the men who have not been rats? Well, rats is a colloquial. So I have to remember now that I'm talking to an international audience. What that means is that all men are bad. Well, not all men are bad. Okay. Where did you learn this? And thank them for sharing what they are sharing, but then make up your own mind, as Todd said. Make up your own mind about what they are saying, whether it is going to help build a better world or not. Isn't that our goal? To build a better world for ourselves and for our children? And I don't mean our children. I mean everyone who comes after, who has to inherit the mess that we have created. And let's stop demanding that people listen to us just because. And make sure that what we say is coming from knowledge, information, a willingness to explore with an open mind, kindness, understanding, and let me see, I need a translation. Jay sent some lovely hearts and all of that. Helen is here. Hello, Helen. Thank you. Thank you. And let's make sure that we are all about caring for everyone in our world. So, just to remind you, Thursday nights, Dreams of Peace. I play the piano. It's going all over the globe. I am ecstatic about the kindness of people and how many people have loved the music. Grow.
And this music is a live stream to this Facebook page.
Thank you. Thank you. I just sit down and music comes through me to you. And Grow is Mondays and Wednesdays. Oh, by the way, that's 7 p.m. Pacific time, like in California.
For the music.
For the music, Dreams of
Dreams
Peace.
of Peace.
And Grow is Mondays and Wednesdays at 6:30 p.m. Pacific time. And you can always, Helen says, wonderful music.
I
Thank
agree.
you.
Very
Thank you.
inspired.
Thank you. If you like Grow, you'll probably like Dreams of Peace, especially if you like the piano. And so Grow is every Monday and Wednesday at 6:30 Pacific time. If you can't come live, come anyway. We don't care. And please share this show with your friends and your elders and your children and anybody who does or does not want to hear it.
Yeah.
So,
right on, Granny.
Bless you all. Mwah, mwah.
Bless you all.
Thank you so much for the incredible. Oh, Helen said, my 92-year-old father is very opinionated, but becoming more loving and relaxed at the same time. So glad to hear that.
Good to hear.
Good to hear. Okay.
Okay.
So that's it for now. We'll see you on Wednesday.
Bye. See you soon.
Oh, one more comment. I just take what I can use and leave the rest. Right on.